Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kirby. This is a week in the life of a mobile mechanic. And you join me on a Monday morning, halfway through, and I've already been out, like the Grim Reaper, to hand a customer some bad news this morning. So I got a call about a DPF clean. He wanted me to take the DPF off and take it to a place that I use in Maidenhead. And I said, there's a possibility I might be able to clean it on the vehicle. Now I got there and there was a whole story behind it. Basically, his service was due, the oil was low, he topped up the oil and then the light went out, but then it went into limp mode and the DPF sign came on. So I got there and he said, yeah, there was a bit of a noise and then the noise hasn't come back. I was like, all right. So I turned it on, I heard a brief noise and it went away. And I didn't think much of it. I checked the DPF pressures and sure enough, they were sky high. So I said, look, I'll try and give it a clean as it is. We'll see how that goes. And if it don't work, I'll take it off. So I've pumped a little bit of fluid into the DPF just to start soaking and whatnot. And then I started up the van and that noise was constantly there. And I thought, that doesn't sound good. Very metallic. I decided, let me check the turbo. And sure enough, the turbo was rattling itself to bits. So I've said, sorry mate, can't do your DPF clean. You're gonna need a turbo, you're gonna need a service, X, Y, and Z. We're probably gonna need to take that DPF off because it's gonna be soaked with oil. So yeah, not the best news for the customer this morning. I didn't film it. I'll overlay a couple of clips I took on my phone, but it was a new customer and he was there, so I don't like filming. I think it's a little bit disrespectful, especially for new customers that don't know what I do. I've just taken another DPF for a sales car to get that clean, so I'm going to drop that off at the unit. And then I've got a job from last week. Yeah, then I've got a Fiesta, I think, from last week that we got the wrong rocker cover gasket for and maybe the wrong CV boots for. So I'm going to get that chalked off the list. And I'm going to try and be a little bit more happy this week because I've had people saying, oh, you're so miserable, maybe you should give it up. Well, not this week. We're going to see how it goes. Right, we're back on this Fiesta. Back there. Because obviously done the timing belt and water pump last week, and we noticed the cam cover gasket was a bit hard. So we ordered a new one, but we got the wrong one. So we're now back, hopefully, with the right one. Get this off. Right, I don't know what it is about this car. Certain parts are so difficult to get right. So this is the CV boot that I put on last week. It fit, but it was just like marginally, even with the clip on, I'd say a bit too loose to allow grease out. So I said to the guys down at GSF, have you got something just a tad smaller or can you cross-reference that? So the numbers that they sent back seem to be just a couple of mil shorter, but that, I don't know if you can see, is the one I've got, and I don't know, that's, you can fit the whole bloody CV boot in there. I don't think that's going to work. That end seems correct. Lengthwise, probably about right. But I think that end is going to be too small. Yeah, way too small. Back to the drawing board on that one. Got to come back another day. But it's all good. I'm happy. I'm not moaning. I'm not grumpy. It's Monday. The weather's nice. But I do have to come back. Hello everyone, it's Tuesday and I haven't filmed today because I've got a potential new employee with me today. So I've put an advert out, had quite a few inquiries, but this guy seemed pretty good and I've got him out. Sorry, the memory card got full up there, but yeah, I've got him out for the day today, or up the unit, and he's just cracked on with an EGR cooler and EGR on this Golf. these ones at the back of the engine. So, you know, I've thrown him in at the deep end and I've had a look at his work and it all seems very tidy. Unfortunately, this customer's going to need a new DPF as well. The actual DPF itself is absolutely fine, but this flexi joint is just, yeah, you can just see it's just corroded off and snapped off. So yeah, it's not even like we can weld a new piece onto there. I mean, it's just, you know, it's not going to work. So unfortunately, we've got a new DPF on order for that. So yeah, subframe had to come down to get that DPF out. And I've just been cracking on, just getting the head off of this Ranger. I'll overlay some clips here of the state of the valves and how much they're leaking. So yeah, I haven't filmed much today. I doubt I'll film much this week because I'm going to get him out in the van with me tomorrow. I'll see what I can and can't film. You know, I can't expect someone else to be on camera really. Yeah, so these weekly vlogs might change a little bit. I mean, the plan is he's going to have my van if we can agree money and everything, because I think we're both interested, so that makes things easy. I'm going to send him out in my van, I'll get back out in my old van, and then I can start filming again properly. But for a week or two, might be very little filming done. We'll see how he feels. But yeah, thought I'd just give you guys a little update into the business side, and that is the aim of this whole vlog. You know, the actual mechanical repairs sometimes don't get always shown, as a lot of long-time subscribers will know. And you know, you've got people like Asheville or Daniel that do vlogs, Calvin's Car Diary. You know, they're not doing any physical work, they're just vlogging. And I think that's possibly, with how I want to grow the business, how it might go. Obviously, I still want to work on projects, and I'm getting into the remapping sort of business, and so all that's going to be filmed. So it might just take a little bit of a different road, but yeah, here we go. And I've got to go do a thermostat now, so I might just film that. See you in a bit. Right, here we are with this TT 1.8 turbo with the BAM engine, and then the thermostat sits just down there, and apparently it's leaking. So he's got thermostat and thermostat housing. Well, it's not leaking. I think it's temperature is fluctuating, so we're going to get that changed off. So these aren't too bad to do. Probably get this off. Might have to get this front cover off, and then we've got a lot more space underneath there. I do believe you're meant to take the alternator, just sort of drop that down, but I think I can do these without removing it, so we'll soon see. Let's get started. So I have managed to get that out without the alternator coming forward, just on a little wobbly 10mm. Bosh. Bottom bolt was a little bit corroded and I didn't think it would come out, but it weren't too bad. So just got to get the new one in there, nice and easy. So that's just up and running. We've got a fault code he wanted me to have a quick look at. Longitudinal accelerators. Longitudinal accelerator sensor. Electrical error in circuit. Hello everyone. It's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. We've missed a lot of footage this week, but it's all for a good reason. I think I spoke about it. I've got a potential new employee who is now an employee. We've agreed, we've agreed money, which is the main thing, I guess, and he's really keen. He's really happy to be aboard, be a part of it all, part of a small business growing. And he was meant to just come out for a day with me, but he ended up being out with me for 4 days this week, so that's why I haven't really filmed. So we've just been smashing out the work. I'll go through a little list of, you know, bits and bobs we've done mobile. So up here on Tuesday, he came up here to help with this Golf, Mark 6 Golf EGR. later on that Tuesday, I went to go do a... Oh, you've seen it, the TT. See, I forget what I've shown and whatever. The TT thermostat, that was done. Wednesday, we went to do an S3, like this shape. Is it 8P? 8Y? Something like that. We done all the coolant hoses, or he got a kit where it was meant to be all of the coolant hoses, but it ended up just being the majority of them. There was a few missing. And then I had a service on a Mito at the same address, a full service. We went to go have a look at a clutch pedal sticking down on a Renault Capture, which turned out to be the slave cylinder, which is a concentric slave. So we've got that to come up next week. That's getting delivered. We went to go fit 2 rear lights and sort out some washer jets on a Qashqai that you might have seen on here a few weeks back. So yeah, that S3 took up most of the time. And then yesterday, it was just mental busy. I forgot that I booked in a job to go take a radio out of a Polo that had been crashed into, and they would have put it into a new car. And then we went an hour's drive from there to go do a start motor on a Honda CR-V 2.2. We was both fearing the worst because we've both done them before, where they've been at the front and they've been absolute pigs to do, but this one was at the back, so it weren't too bad. Then we got a call from another customer that had done a service on, new customer, a couple of weeks ago. Her starter motor's gone on her Avensis, and front pads and discs, so we was all over the place yesterday. But yeah, we smashed out the work. And then today, yeah, we've just been up the unit. Well, Shane, my new employee, he was up here. He done the service on that Merc. And then I was out doing front pads and discs, a coolant flange, and a washer bottle pump on a Corsa. And then I came up here. I had a EGR solution on a Tiguan. I've had a stage 1 and AdBlue solution on this little Peugeot. He needed 2 front tyres, so I got my tyre guy, Connor from PMK Tyres. Shout out to him. Oh, and I had a DPF pressure sensor fault, which I think I've solved, but there's a bit of doubt there because the readings don't look right to me, so I've got to come in tomorrow and have a look at that. I was meant to have a service up here on a van as well, and we got our wires crossed. I said come up to the unit. He thought he meant his friend's unit, which is another customer of mine's unit, but I meant obviously my unit, so that's going to have to wait. So yeah, it's been a busy week. I'm sure this video is going to be super short and not much content, but like I said, maybe these weekly vlogs are going to change ever so slightly. Shane is going to be out in my Sprinter, not next week, the week after. That's when we're planning, and then I will be back in the old bus. So the Transit Custom, that's got a fresh MOT on it, but it just needs a bit of tidying up, and it's also gutless, so I'm going to give it a map. I've gone mapping crazy. I love it. The guys down at Mobile Eco Tuning, Met Clean, they've been great whilst I get to grips with things. So the support's great. The maps have been really good. The maps that I've done for people have been over the moon with. I'll leave a link in the description. If you're a mechanic or a garage and you're thinking about mapping, please give them a shout, because yeah, it's a great bit of kit to add to the arsenal of services you offer, basically. And that is it for this week. We'll see how we get on next week. Shane knows I do YouTube now. He didn't before, so yeah, he's gonna have to get used to me vlogging eventually, so we'll get him involved next week. We'll introduce you, but yeah, thanks for watching, even though it's been short. If you're not subscribed, hit that button, because I feel like once I get going, this channel's going to take off, the business is going to take off, and yeah, just come along for the ride. And yeah, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.